So I have a few places where I talk to Jesus. One is my bed. Another is in the town if I don't have my cell phone. Excuse me. And the last is the shower. I know that's kind of a weird place to talk to Jesus, but I mean, I'm naked in the shower, and Job 1 to 3 says, naked came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return again. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord, in Job 1 and 2. But I was talking to Jesus, and he was saying he's proud of me for ignoring my phone for a few hours. And I said, you're going to reward me for that? He actually said he's going to reward me for not using my phone. And I said, why would you reward me, Jesus? I use my phone constantly as an idol. Sometimes I lust. Sometimes I smoke tobacco. And he goes, he told me it's not a, this is just the conversation I had with him and him responding in my mind. He said, it's not about what you do, or it's not about what you don't do, it's about what you do, and what you do is more important than what you don't do. So that was Jesus to me. But then he told me something alarming. And I asked him a question while I was, doing shampoo on my hair and everything. And I said to him, Jesus, about how many people are on the broad path versus the narrow path in my friends, family, and people I work with. Not work with, but, people I encounter who might be working. And I'm not going to say a single person who was going... Well, actually, that's not true. I'll say that he said my mom and my grandma and me are on the narrow path. And then he started describing the other people in my friends, family, and acquaintances. They were on the broad path. So I just want to make you aware that you can talk to Jesus about anything. And if you have faith, you have to have a lot of faith to do that. Well, even if you have a mustard seed of faith, Jesus said. But long story short, it was alarming. There were people in my family that Jesus himself said, like the Jesus Christ, if that was really him, and I could tell by his voice in my mind that it was him, that it was alarming how many people in my friends and family, he said, were on the broad path leading to hell. And I just thought to myself, and then he told me why. See, Jesus is the best teacher in the world, because when Jesus teaches you something, he not only gives you wisdom in what he's saying, but he boils it down to something you can understand. So I said, Jesus, after knowing that, and then this is the other information I want to give on this video before it ends, and that is that compared to, well, no, that's not it. What I want to say is there was about 4 or 5 people or less that were going to heaven in my friends or family, and there was about 20 plus people going to hell. And for people who are the easy believism Christianity, this is alarming, because he also described to me something powerful. He said, your mom repented with you on the phone. Your grandmother, when you asked her, do you repent, said yes. And I know that you repent. He's kind of saying, so because you repent, you're really forgiven. And then he said, if you repent one time, you're going to be considered good to go to heaven. If you repent multiple times, then you're definitely going to heaven. That's how he put it. So Luke 13:3, guys, is real. These are Jesus' words, not mine. He says, nay, but he's going, nay, but except you repent, ye shall all likewise perish. And he says it twice, which means it's very important. But you know what Jesus said 3 times in Mark 9:46, the only time he repeated something 3 times? He said, where the worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched. Jesus spoke more on hell than he ever did of heaven. And it's alarming that that would be the case, but all I gotta say in the end is consider your walk, guys. Is your phone an idol? Turn it off. Is your job or career an idol? Tone it down with your work, your weekly hours. Is your money an idol? Don't worship it anymore. Don't use it. And I gotta say, Jesus himself, according to Tim Conway, will rip every idol out of your mind and heart before you can go to heaven. And it's going to be proven true because by the time you're 80 years old, you're going to be alone. You're going to be in your house or your group home if you have dementia, and you're going to have a lot of time just to surmise all of the things you've done wrong and all the things you've done right. So